I'm going to give you some tips for answering strategic questions during a product management interview. My name is Alex. On this channel, we talk about product management, startups, finances, everything in between. Today, I'm going to tell you the framework that I like to use to deal with any kind of strategy or business questions during a product management interview. Strategy questions are any question that deals with whether and why and how a company should do something with a particular product with respect to a particular audience or customer segment or business use or what have you. And a lot of times, these strategy questions are going to be open-ended. Should company A do this? Should it enter market X or acquire competitor C or what have you? The first thing you got to understand is there really is no necessarily right answer for most of this stuff. The most important thing that the interviewers are looking for at that point is that you follow a logical structure. You follow a logical path to arrive at whatever conclusion you make. And it's that path that's the most important thing to follow along. It's how you think, what your thinking process is like, how you're able to evaluate, how you're able to go down different paths and backtrack if need be, or maybe make adjustments based on the conversation. And of course, your general level of knowledge about business, finances, particular products or industries is of course important, but not the most important thing. So I don't want you to go and necessarily try to memorize all the financial aspects of a particular business right before you interview. It's a good idea to know the basics, but really, if you're working in tech and product management, you should be excited about technology, excited about the business of it, the customer journeys and everything in between. So you should still, just as a general rule, be reading the news and finding out more about the business going ons and the new products that are available and the changes, the partnerships, but that should come natural. You should not try to force it by memorizing a whole bunch of numbers. That's not the aim. So when you're asked a strategic question, my first thing to do is always understand what the signal is that the interviewer is looking for. Make sure this really is a strategy question and make sure the interviewer is really looking for your analysis of a particular strategic concern. And if that's the case, next step is, as always, make sure you understand the question, make sure you clarify any ambiguities, and you set up a place where you can start. For instance, if you're asked to think about what should Disney do next, you need to disambiguate this because Disney is a big company. Are you talking about the streaming service, theme parks, or the movie business? And if you're talking about the movie business, you're talking about Marvel, Star Wars, Fox, you have to disambiguate all this stuff. If you don't know these things, then again, you can just go from what you know, and that's totally fine. Once you figure out what the conversation is actually going to focus on, here's how I recommend you break down the strategic question. Always think from 2 points of view. First of all, what is the business? And second of all, who is the customer? And between those two, it's always who is the customer that's the most important thing, and what is the customer need? What is the user need, user motivation? What exactly is the user looking for? What problems are they looking to solve? When in doubt, always fall back on that. And the company is meant to serve the needs of the user, but both have unique identities. The user needs could evolve, they could have hidden motivations, they could have transparent motivations, and the company could have a past, a present, and a future. And with strategic questions, you want to, first things first, understand all of the pieces involved, and then ask yourself, how can the company stick to its overall mission while solving the user's problem? So at a very basic level, you take any strategic question, why should company A acquire company B? And then you ask yourself the following questions. What is company A? What is company B? What do they do? Why do they do it? Who are their users? What do the users want? What problems do their users have? How can this company solve those problems? Does it need to make any changes? And then given all of that information, given that we know the user and we've drawn up what the user wants and we know what the company is and we've drawn up what the company is, we then look for areas of overlap or we look for potential synergies between the companies and what the user wants. And then any strategic question can continue down that path. When you take all of that information and you combine it, you can actually make some interesting combinations, permutations, and inferences. And this is the type of analysis that you need to be able to do. It's nothing extremely in-depth, and you really only are asking yourself, what is this? Why do they do it? What do they do? And then you combine them together to see what insights would form. Because you're answering this in the span of 5-7 minutes, you're not expected to arrive at some sort of deep level of insights, but try not to stop at the very first level of insight, so the very first thing. You know, when you think of Netflix and what Netflix should concentrate on or focus on in the short term, you're tempted to maybe want to say, well, continue focusing on the content. But if you look beyond that, think about what Netflix is. It's an entertainment provider, so maybe there's other paths of entertainment that they could take. You start to uncover some more interesting paths. You know, they could do live concerts, they could do game shows, they could do a whole bunch of other stuff that lives in the realm of entertainment as opposed to the realm of streaming content that they've been working on. And so try to look for that deeper level of insight. For strategy questions, I use the 5C framework, which is very straightforward. The first C is company. That is you, your organization. You have your mission, your company mission, your product vision, product goal. And the next C is the customer or the client. This is who your company serves or your product serves. The customer, of course, has some sort of a problem that your company addresses. Now, to the left and right of you are competitors. That's the third C. Competitors act to try to take away your customers, and you compete for the same customer. Behind you are your collaborators. These are all the folks that you're partnering with. These maybe are your suppliers, your distributors, your sales force, your employees, your contractors, anybody at all that you work together with to produce the product that you then sell to the customers. And finally, you are all together in the climate, the fifth C. And the climate is the environment that we're in. It could be literally the environment because we're all in this environment and subject to issues that could happen, calamities, for instance, what's happening right now. And also it could be the regulatory environment, or it could be the competitive climate, or it can be the current public perception. So it's everything that all of these entities are in. So the 5 C's I use largely to think about strategic questions and to help me move along and find footing whenever I get lost in a particular strategic question. So first thing, you think about, what am I being asked, if I understand it, if I'm on the same page with the interviewer, with the questions being asked. The next thing is you identify the entities involved, whether it's companies, whether it's customers, whether it's products. And then you ask yourself the question is, what are all these? What is this product? What is this company? What's the vision? What's the mission? Who's the user? Why did they use this product? What's their problem? Why are they trying to solve this problem? How do they pay for this problem? And so on and so forth. And then when you've got all the cast of characters, you start thinking of it in terms of this 5C model, which is you, the company, the customer in front of you, your collaborators behind you, competitors on the side, and all of you in this climate. And when you start to think about it like that, you can start to formulate connections between all of these entities, and you're starting to notice synergies and notice potential paths that you could go. And as you work down each element, you're able to meaningfully progress along the structure to produce some satisfying answers. And again, keep in mind, there's no right answer, but it's your thinking process. And this thinking process is as clear as possible to allow you to make progress on the answer. So if you like this video, please smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm and also subscribe so you don't miss anything. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.